Hey, shout out, folks. It's the old Rucker coming at you live from Shout Out from the Pit. I am really excited tonight. Hey, I got a little more juice than I normally do, and it's not caffeine related. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I have been waiting a long time for this opportunity. And tonight, joining us on the show is not just a co-host, not just a guest, but our featured guest. And that would be, tell us who you are.
Hi, my name's Mandy.
Yeehaw! I finally roped her into doing a show with us. So, and this is not just a normal day, because today, Mandy turned 39 and the crowd screams.
Way!
Happy birthday to you. Shut up, Bob. Okay, so we're going to launch right into our raw and uncensored show, where our goal is to be optimistic, snarky, serious, whatever. Let the spirit guide us as we go down Mandy's journey so we can learn about her experience, strength, and hope. And as you as the audience, you gain some tools for your toolbox. Or if you're just starting your journey, maybe you'll hear some stuff that will help you along your journey. So I just want to do a quick, I'll let you do it. How long have we known each other? Talk to me for a little bit.
Hi, Bob. I do believe we've known each other for, I want to say 4 years, 5 years. Is it
8.
A little bit long? 8 years. See?
Yep.
Feels like all my life, but there you go.
There you go. I don't know if that's a good thing. Is that a good thing?
It's experienced.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got to have an Uncle Bob. Mandy, I will address this then. When I started going to this particular group, trying to find myself in this area, you and I can't not remember this other lady at this. I met you all at the same time. She got a transfer. She was working with a hospital and has moved on. But I remember the first thing that struck out about you was my stereotype. I figured you're just normal American because you're obviously dark skinned. So I'm thinking, okay, she's, just a normal American. And then when you started talking, I was like, holy cow, where the hell is she from? That's an awesome accent, So it was a paradigm shift for me. That was cool. Didn't know they had black people in England. And then your aura and the way that you present yourself. And it's no doubt, obviously, you know how I feel about you. You're just like part of the family. We've been friends for a long time, 8 years, Mandy. But I think in the last few years is when we've really gotten to know each other. And you've kind of inspired me and helped me to get this podcast off the ground. You've co-hosted a couple of shows with me already. We have some forthcoming shows that obviously I want you to be a part of on the Table Jams when we talk topical. And just you're one of those persons that when your name is mentioned and you're not there, everybody's got something great to say because of your outreach, your heart, your enthusiasm for people. And you're so genuine. And so now that I've blown all that smoke up your butt, let's talk about Mandy. And obviously I know where you're from now, but the audience is going to be curious. Can you give us some insight of your youth?
Okay. Well, thanks, Bob, for that build-up, and I appreciate all the precious words there. I am originally born and raised in England, and my mother's white, and my father is from Trinidad. So that accounts for the nice tan. But yeah, I grew up in England, and when my mother did marry, I was 6, and slowly but surely, and very quickly, not slowly, quickly, I became the eldest of 7. So it was a fun house. It was full. It was loud. It was funny, and sometimes it was very, very tiring because I had to grow up real quick. Became a chief cook and bottle washer, we like to call it, but changing diapers, ironing uniforms for school, and things like that. There was a lot of grown-up tasks that I had to do, which I am kind of grateful for today, because it really did help me when I went out on my own.
I think it's also obvious because, well, it is what it is, but you're kind of looked at as a maternal figure in our recovery journey, and a lot of people's in the program of, if you just be frank about it, Alcoholics Anonymous. Then we're going to talk about that more later, but just the way that you treat the ladies around you and the way that they treat you. Yes, I can see where you guys are peers, but I can also see, because I know like one of your sponsees very well, and they truly look at you as their mother away from their mother. You are very protective, but at the same time, you're very caring and loving. It's just, you are the example of what a woman in recovery should be like. But we'll talk about how you got there. But I know you were the oldest of this flock of 7 kids. And so what put you in a position to have to take charge at such a young age?
Well, I think a lot of it is, and it's no bad judgment or anything derogatory towards my parents, but it was always Mandy will do it, Mandy will do it. So therefore, as the kids, I call them my kids, as they were growing up, they would always come to me. At the time, my parents didn't drink. So I wouldn't say it's because of, they're always drunk or they're drugs or anything like that, because that wasn't the case. It's like I just took over kind of thing. It felt right. I felt responsible, and that's what I did. And I looked after them and took care of them. And it seemed to have been a thing that I've done for a very long time. But as I got older and, life throws you that curveball, I forgot to take care of the most important person, and I forgot to take care of me.
Let's come back to that, because that's important. What were some of the fun things you remember as a child, and what was your relationship to Peaky Blinders as far as geographical locations?
I was probably 15-minute car ride away from that.
Oh my. Well, if you ever decide to go home on a visit, I want to go with you because I want to see where that setting was. That was an awesome. I know we were tracking that show at the same time. What a crazy series. So what were some of the fun times that you can remember as your youth growing up in England?
I remember in the little area that I lived in, all the kids, we always used to go outside and play. And a lot of the time the parents would come out too. So we'd have the parents out and we'd be playing soccer or renting tin, as you guys call it. We call it hide and seek. There'd be street parties, and there was lots of that going on. There was a lot of community. So that was a lot of fun. My mum was really big at getting out there with the kids, though. She really was. She would come out and play, but when, got back in the house, she was done.
So was there a time then when you started transitioning away from being like the mother role to your kids and started doing some of your own, I wouldn't call it self-care, but looking out for yourself? I don't know how to put that.
Not until I actually left the coop and I was 17. It was overcrowded. 5 girls in one room. It was too much. Oh. So I was able to get my own apartment. And so I had a little 2-bedroom flat, but it was in the next street. So I wasn't too far away. So you can guess. The kids were always
I was just going to say.
The kids were always at my house.
So, okay. So you're not too far from home. I don't know. But you're paying your own way.
Right.
So did you go to school, have a job at the same time? What did you do?
No, I had left school at 17 and I graduated early, as you guys call it here. So I left when I was 17, went to college for about 12 months and did retail. And I worked in a delicatessens for about 6 months. And then I was going to join the army. So I always had this thing that, once I got out the house, then I was going to go and do this and I was going to go and do that. And I had all these plans. And I was going to join the British Army.
Oh, wow.
And I went to the selection centre, which was down south in England. I was gone for 4 days. I wanted to be a driver, but I was too short. I'm only 5 foot.
Are you really?
Yes. So
because you're so much bigger in life. I thought you were probably 6 foot. Okay, I exaggerate.
But yeah, so I didn't qualify to be a driver, so they was going to have me administration officer. Well, that didn't appeal to me. So I said thanks, but no thanks. And then I went to go work at this holiday camp. We have these holiday camps over there where people will, how you have campsites here? You'll take your own RV. Oh, like KOA? Something like that, okay. Right? Well, they would have these campsites that people would, all you do is you go, and the RVs and the caravans, we call them, are already there. And the facilities, they put on bingo nights and all kinds of different activities, and they have the pool and things like that. So I went to go work in the bar at the Pig and Whistle, it was called. The what? Pig. Pig and Whistle. Pig and Whistle? Yeah. So I was a bartender at the Pig and Whistle. So the thing is... I'm sorry, were you 17 still? No, I was.
How old were you by then?
I was 18.
18, working at the Pig and Whistle as a bartender?
Yes.
Okay.
And 18 is the legal age to drink over there too.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I did a lot of geographicals at an early age. I didn't realize at that time that that's what I was doing, but I knew I was always trying to get away.
Well, just tell us what, I know what a geographical is, but share with us what that means in layman terms.
In layman's terms, for me, it means that, okay, I'm not liking this situation where I'm at. I'm going to go somewhere else and it's going to be better and it's going to be different. So I would move and go somewhere else and it would be different and it would be better for about 5 minutes because I'm taking me with me. I didn't understand that at the time. So I did a couple of those.
Okay. How many times did you move around? I mean, just curious.
Well, there was the army, there was the, then I would do night jobs, work at night. I'm going to work at night. That way I'll sleep during the day. And I was isolating myself, but I didn't know that at the time, but that's what was happening with me. And then I got in with a group of girls at where I was working, and we ended up changing shifts. And so then we was working in the day, and then we would party in the evening or every weekend.
Now, geographically, you weren't too close to where your blood was, your kin, were you?
I was still in the apartment. I would still go back to the flat.
Okay. But now you flew the coop. You're hanging out with these other girls you met. You guys you're partying. Is that the way to go? Or what,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what we did.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think what else. Of course, there's Christmas parties and banquets and different things like that we go to. There was one that I absolutely will never forget. It was at one of the castles there in England, in Warwickshire. It was at Warwick Castle, and it was a big banquet there, a medieval banquet. The company that I work for, that's what they put on. And of course, we all dressed up in the timepiece that, it was 17th century.
That's
cool. Absolutely wonderful. I'd never forget that.
Were you, I know you're hanging out with the girls and what have you, were you drinking at this time? You're 18?
I was...
sociable?
It was sociable. It was, I wasn't getting drunk. I had this thing in my head though, Bob. I had this thing in my head. I wanted to be like my mum, her daughter. And my mum wasn't a drinker that I knew. Okay? So there's more to come on that.
Okay.
Whenever... Back in England, every bar has or every pub rather, has a beer garden, and there's play areas for children outside, and it's a very social event. Everything's really social. You can take the children and you go and eat, and then the kids will play outside, and you can take your beer out at the picnic table or what have you, and just about every pub is like that. And my mum would always drink what we call lemon and lime, which for you guys would probably be like a Sprite.
Oh, okay.
All right. Excuse me. So I was like, I'm going to be like my mum, because she always seemed to, she was the boss, and she kept herself together kind of thing. And I looked up to that. So it wasn't until I was maybe 19 before I started drinking the lager, the beer.
Oh.
But we'd start off with the half pints, The first time I ever had a drink, I was probably 14, and it's Christmas time. They like to drink sherry. That seems to be the festive drink. So I had this schooner of sherry, and it's exactly as, you hear alcoholics say. It was warm and it was soothing, and it was very, very sweet. So that was the first time I'd had, a taste of the alcohol, and I liked it. I did. I liked it. It wasn't anything profound like, oh my God, I got to have another one. I'm going to, that did come, but not at that time.
So there was like no buzz or,
Oh, I'm sure there was a buzz. Yes, I definitely felt different.
but there was no desire to go and, get crazy.
No, I wasn't about to go get hammered just then.
Okay. Side note. So I don't know why this popped in my head right now, but are you a Ted Lasso fan?
No, but I keep hearing about this Ted Lasso.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, we can't talk about that then. You haven't seen it yet. I would watch it. I only saw, I think, the first 2 seasons. I didn't watch third. But it's worth watching. Anyway, so I digress. Let's get back on track. Sorry, it doesn't do any good if you haven't seen it. Okay, so 19 years old, and now you're taking. Are you at this point taking that sherry to the next level, or?
Oh yeah, we're way past the sherry level. yeah.
You're into the lager level, or?
But it was cunning, baffling, and powerful. We like to call. That's what we call the disease of alcoholism. Is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And I would go to the pub maybe on a Friday night and a Saturday night, and it was social drinking. It really was, and you could walk home and everything would be okay. No arrests, no hangovers.
Okay.
But then I met this other group of girls, and they started going to the Air Force Base. Now, I'm 22 maybe at this point, and we're going to the Air Force Base in Oxford. I actually lived in Coventry, but we went to Oxford,
Okay.
which is about an hour's car ride away. Because they had the NCO club, and they were open a lot later. The small place that I lived in, we had one nightclub, and it closed at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. So, what do you do after 2 o'clock? And your party, you're just getting started. So we started going out to the NCO club, and that's where I met.
Party with the Yanks.
That's exactly what happened. Yes, they showed me how to do it. Anyway, a friend of mine was having a party at our house, and she wanted to know if we could get some beer on base because it was a lot cheaper, you see.
Class 6, that's right. And no
Right.
tax. Well, yeah, I don't know what your tax structure is like anyway.
That's
but,
right, and it was the case as a Budweiser. I said, well, I don't know. I said, I did know this family on base. Anyway, I spoke with him, and he introduced me to this new guy that had just come over. And I said, well, will he get the beer? Well, as it turns out, he did, and he got invited to the party. And long story short, we ended up getting married.
Man, those crazy Americans.
Right. And it was so cool because when we lived in this house in England, we had the huge ice box, you call them, right? The
refrigerators, the ice
great
box.
big
Yeah.
ice box. And we used to have like a transformer because our voltage is different.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right. So we had that plugged in, and then the small British, refrigerator. And that was the food. And the big one was for all the beer and wine and whatever else we wanted to put in there. That was the drinks cabinet, you might as well call it.
Was he a drinker then too?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys had that in common.
Right. I joke. I say I didn't become I became an alcoholic when I married into the military.
I don't know how many times I've heard that, but yeah, I have heard that.
Right.
Being a veteran myself, I can't refute that.
So that drinks cabinet stayed stocked.
So how old were you when you got married?
24.
Oh, okay. So from 19 to 24, you're just having a good time at this point.
Yeah. It was all social drinking, and it was all
You're responsible going to work, being Mandy, the good girl. Okay, you get married at 24, and the marriage was good. How long was the wedding was good, but how long was the marriage good?
The marriage was good for, I want to say, I was married 9 years and 7 months maybe. So it was within the last 7 months. See, I had been struggling with a lot of things, and with us both being heavy drinkers, it was starting to get toxic because we weren't very sober at the same time. We weren't sober at the same time, so one was always mad at the other.
When you say toxic, do you mean mentally, physically? I'm not asking for details. I'm just curious.
Mentally.
Yeah.
Mentally. There was
okay.
never any physical abuse.
Okay, good. So mentally, you guys just, like they say, grow apart. Is that, I don't know what the proper words here are. You just, were you as not connected as you were when you got married?
It's really odd to explain because the maternal instinct in me still wants to take care and be that part of the family. But then internally, there's still a part of me that wanted to run. So, I mean, we were still in England at this point, and I would go off to Spain for a couple of weeks with friends to So it was the marriage was, he had his friends and did his thing. I did my thing. But we lived in the same house, But and don't get me wrong, there was love there. We did love each other. And so there was one time I had gone to, I was 26, and I'd gone to Tangiers. First I went to Gibraltar, then went to Tangiers.
Wow.
So, this is a cool story for me because we had been trying for a baby. Anyway, we was in Africa, and we was in Tangiers, and we was doing this tour, and this guide had taken us into this cave. Well, the actual opening of the cave was the map of Africa turned upside down. It was really cool. And we went in there, and there was this hole that was on one side of the cave, and the guide was saying, put your hand in here and you'll be blessed. And nobody wanted to do it, and then some people did it, and I'm like, oh, God, I don't know if I want, but I did. Anyway, I ended up putting my hand in it, and I promise you, 6 months later, I was pregnant. So that was a miracle there. Considering as heavy as I drank and as heavy as he drank, that was a blessing, So, 27, my daughter was born. And it just so happened that he got stationed to Tampa, Florida. And he's actually from there. And my daughter's 6 weeks old. We leave England and end up in Clearwater, Florida.
What a climate change. Y'all don't have beaches like Florida and England, do you?
No. I'm waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's 70 degrees outside. And I'm like,
hot.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah, I was just...
Wow. And you guys probably don't have bikinis in UK, right?
They have topless beaches, so you can find lots of bottoms.
Okay. Moving right along. So tell me how it was in Clearwater then. You got your baby girl.
Yes, and thankfully his mom and dad were there, mom and stepfather. And this is kind of cool, actually. I'm just going to backtrack just a touch.
Sure.
Back in 1988, he was bringing me over to America to meet his parents. Now, I had, when we got there, we landed in Miami, and then we had to meet in Tampa. Well, his mom, his stepdad, and his brothers were all there to meet us. He was so drunk when we got there. I was so embarrassed. I didn't know what to do. I was just embarrassed.
That the first time you met them?
And that was the first time I'd met his parents, and I was gobfounded, it was like, oh my God. And I was so angry. And anyway, that short stay, we stayed at their house, but they didn't drink. And his stepdad, he would say, it's the first drink that gets you drunk. I was thinking to myself, this man's a little off the wall. And then he would, every once in a while, he'd come by and say, you're only as sick as your secrets. And I would think this man's absolutely crazy.
Where have we heard that before?
Really? I mean, back in 88, I had never heard it before in my life. I thought this man had lost the plot. I really thought he'd gone, Just so happened he was 17 years sober. I had no idea.
What was wrong with him? I mean, I'm
right.
Silly. I mean, in your mind's eye, what do you mean sober? Yeah, right. I mean, who
well,
does
no,
that?
I didn't know that until after we had left. All I knew was that. Well, no, tell a lie. It was maybe a couple of days before we left, and I still didn't understand. It's the first drink that gets you drunk,
right?
And I didn't understand. You're only as sick as your secrets. I really thought the man had lost the plot, and he was just so happy-go-lucky and talked. Never met a stranger, and he was just, I really thought he was nuts. I really did. I thought, bless his heart, he's old and he's lost it.
Were you drinking at that time?
Yes, like a fish.
And you had your daughter. How old was your daughter? She was a baby still.
Well, no, this was back in 88 when that happened.
Oh, you hadn't had a child yet?
No, she was born in 90.
I get it. Okay.
So, that was my first encounter with somebody in AA. Because I didn't know we had AA in England. I really didn't.
So, I want to ask you about that. So I don't know how that conversation transpired. What was that dialogue like? Did he say, I'm a member of something you've never heard of?
No. They were in bed. Me and my husband at the time, we'd come home late, and this is a true story. we had some vodka hidden in the bedroom, and I always like to have orange juice with mine, but there wasn't any. So I didn't have any. He mixed milk with it.
Oh, gosh.
I
I've done a
know.
lot of crazy stuff, but that, nah.
That about made me want to throw up.
I'm
But he
with you.
did. And so, you know that story in the big book where he...
Yeah, the salesman.
Yes, I've seen it happen.
That's funny. Even when I read that story of the salesman doing what you just said, I was
Right.
like, who does that? And now you're telling me you met somebody that is like, that's
Yeah,
desperate.
he did.
I think I would douse it with water or something, but not milk.
He
Ugh.
sure did, yeah. But anyway, he said to me then, he said, we've got to keep quiet because they don't drink. And I can say his name because he's passed now. Jim is in AA. I was like,
What?
really? Alcoholics Anonymous? He said, yeah. I went, okay. Went back in the bedroom and said nothing more about it. You know, so it kind of made sense to me then why we was keeping the stuff hidden and not drinking around.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, that was what happened there in H8. But those two phrases there, the first drink that gets you drunk and you're only as sick as your secrets, still didn't make any sense to me.
Yet a seed was planted, a mustard seed, as small as it was planted. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, so you guys are stateside now? That 90 is coming?
In 90.
Okay.
Yeah, in 90 we moved stateside.
And you're stationed at what?
He's stationed at Tampa, but we live in Clearwater.
Okay.
And we stayed with his parents until we got a house, which was only a couple of months. And he would go off to base, go off to work. And I would work for his parents. They owned a printing company,
Okay.
silk screening.
Oh, okay.
So Grandma would watch the baby and I'd go to work with the stepfather. I'm just going to call him the father. And Jim would come up with some crazy stuff, sayings that I still was convinced he had lost the plot.
Did he know that you guys drank as much as you did?
Oh, yeah. He had plenty of phone calls. They had plenty of phone calls from my husband at the time when we lived in England. He would call, because there's a 6-hour difference. They're 6 hours ahead of us.
Uh-huh.
So he'd be calling at 10 o'clock at night in England, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
So he had made lots of drunk calls.
Oh, I see. Now I'm tracking.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but then, I do my little work day, get my daughter and go home. And, well, before I actually started working, to tell you the truth, I would, he'd go off to work, I'd get up, get baby all sorted and get dinner all made and everything else and have everything done by noon because that's when I could start drinking. See, I had to have everything done before noon so that I could start drinking.
She's a scheduled drinker there. Is that what we call them? Scheduled, planned drinking?
Oh, it was planned. Yeah. And so they got me out of that rut a little bit with the small printing job. And then I went to work for, I was a banquet server at one of it's called Safety Harbour Health and Fitness Bar in Clearwater. And I absolutely loved that job, doing banquet serving. That was really cool. So I did that until he got stationed to Arkansas. But there was...
oh my gosh, another culture shock.
Yeah. Oh my God, was it? Yeah.
Oh gosh. You go from the UK to Florida to Arkansas. Did you wonder who he pissed off?
Oh, I know for a fact he upset somebody in England because he'd been there 8 years and there was some event going on base. I was 8 months pregnant at the time and he got brought home by one of his friends, absolutely covered in puke. And he had said some really, I don't know what he said, but he'd said enough to where there's like, you're leaving. So I'm 8 months pregnant. He's had this event happen on base. And 6-7 weeks later, we're gone.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Oh, they wanted him gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he upset somebody.
Oh, wow. Well, he's pretty fortunate because in this day and age, that was in the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this day and age, they the military doesn't move a problem, they remove it.
Right.
So he was fortunate to be able to maintain his career.
Right.
Okay, so please continue.
Where was I?
I'm not sure. I was caught on. You came to Arkansas, but we were talking. I took you down a rabbit trail.
He got we was there for 3 years. We was in Florida for 3 years. And it wasn't without incident. The drinking just started to get more and more.
With him or you?
Oh, with both of us.
Okay.
Oh, both of us, yeah. The drinking just progressed. And
it's funny, Mandy, because I mean, come on, we know a lot of people in recovery, and you can look at somebody and say, yeah, they need recovery. You can see it, the physical, the alcohol is taking a toll on their body, yeah, they need to be here. But you don't look like a former alcoholic. So just saying, I mean, you look great. I joked with you on an earlier episode that you look like the cover of a Jet magazine. You don't
believe him, listeners. Please don't believe him.
and you're very humble. So I just don't see that, the scars of the journey. I don't see that in you. And it kind of throws me for a loop because you can, like the joke is, well, I don't know if it's a joke, but I got a face for radio because this face would not sell in TV. You don't have the scars.
I don't know, Bob. You're a handsome young man.
Oh, well, remember, I'm your senior. So you guys are in Arkansas. You're both, I wouldn't say you're living it up because those days has passed. Now are you alcoholics at this point?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely. I knew I was getting to the point to where I had to get these things done early in the day because the earlier I got done, the earlier I could drink. Now, I was still responsible enough to take care of what I need to take care of.
Right. Well, and you're a mother.
Absolutely, yeah. But I'll tell you what, God had a hold of that child just as well as he did me because there were times that, where I fell asleep.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a toddler and things like that. So, by the grace of God, that things, they could have been a lot different. I could have been telling a different story.
Oof. And we've heard those stories.
Yes, absolutely. And my heart goes out to those. I don't even know what I'm trying to say at the minute because when it comes to children, it comes to others. My heart's too big. I can't carry it all. So it's, I'm a compassionate person, very empathetic, and when I hear or see somebody that has a child, it's, what can I do? How can I help? What do you need? Because, if I've got it, if I can do it, I will.
Oh,
So, but the hard thing is, and it's a lesson that I learned the hard way, is I'm not going to ask for help. I got this, and
that's almost our crazy alcoholic motto, isn't it?
Right.
And I got this. Hold my beer.
Right.
Yeah.
And, that independence, that strong independence started when I was younger, being that young mother, getting out on my own, doing what I needed to do. And sometimes it became a hindrance, But I've also learned that a lot of the time it was my ego. I didn't know anything about ego at the time. I just thought I was in survival mode. So I learned some very, very valuable lessons in this program about me. Because everything that I learn in here is for me. I know that. If I don't learn anything, I can't share anything.
Oh, for sure.
For
sure. I mean, how can you be a role model to somebody if you haven't walked in their shoes,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to cut for just a sec because I think it's a good opportunity for me to do this. We have, you and I have worked with parents that have actually gotten their kids back.
Mm-hmm.
And it is such a beautiful thing because, when parents come in and are broken, I'm saying this for those of you out there that are struggling and might have lost your kids. I can tell you that, God's got a plan for you. You never waste a hurt. So we have seen miracles where parents should not, according to the court system, got their children back, but they have beyond a doubt proven that they are decent human beings. They were able to get the addictions under control. They worked their program. They discovered their purpose. They drove it with a passion, and they got their kids back. And I'm going to do a shameless plug for Second Chance Youth Ranch. Our brother Ralph, he introduced me to that program. I went to a banquet last year. I'm going to another banquet this year, and it just opened my eyes. The system is full of children that are removed from their addicted parents for their safety at everybody's heartbreak. Because some people just cannot kick the can and get over that. So the system takes these kids and they break them up because they don't have any choice. They're just trying to find temporary homes for them, right? Second Chance youth ranch takes these children, the whole flock from a family, and keeps them together. They adopt them out together, or they'll hang on to them until the parents, if they get right, can get the kids back. Shameless plug for Second Chance Youth Ranch. It brings joy to my heart to know that there's hope out there. So please, I digressed.
Now, I also attend that event.
Oh, shit.
And it is.
That's right, Mandy. You were at the table next to me last year.
And it's amazing. And the transformation that you can see in people when they do this, when they ask for help and do this, it's amazing.
Well, let's go ahead and throw it out there. October 15th. It's going to be at the Benton Event Center. I'm going to put this in the show notes so we don't have to belabor this, but I still have, my wife got Hannah and I got Angelica, the candles. Mm-hmm. So they're on our stand, so we can, lay hands on them every day and just kind of say a little prayer for them, wherever they're at. I'm sure by now that they're probably great hands out there somewhere, but awesome. I'm glad we were able to do that shameless plug together. So I'll put that information in the show notes. I would encourage you to go to their website, throw them a couple of bucks or something like that. Or if you're in the area, you want to go to the banquet, I tell you right now, you will not be disappointed. It was one of the coolest events that I have been to, and wearing a tie, Mm-hmm. All right, man, let's go back on our show. We're going to call that our break. How's that?
There you go.
Anyway, so you had left off talking about where you were, and I think you were leading up to your, can we talk about your, what we call in the program, a bottom? What happened? What led you up to that?
Well, we had moved to Arkansas, okay?
Yeah.
And we had been here about a year, living on base, got into another one of our huge fights. My neighbor got a hold of my daughter because he had locked me out of the house, and I was super mad, and I was going to get him in trouble, so I called the MPs.
Oh.
And in turn, they got a hold of the Jacksonville police as well. So it was a shit show. But you see, with me calling the MPs, I had no thought whatsoever of what may happen to his career. Absolutely none. I was just full of rage. I was drunk as a lord. And damn it, you're not going to kick me out of the house. I'll show you. So we both had to end up going through some counseling. Okay, he obviously got a little bit more, with his first shirt and things. But it was at that point, I stopped running and I faced my fear, Bob, is that I came out of the closet. So with that being said, the marriage then only lasted maybe another, I'd say 6 months through that. But that was really with us doing closure, lots of talking and everything else. We did end up on good terms.
Oh, good.
Still are on very good terms. And, but that was it. That's what, and it was, talking with a counselor in a safe place that I could, just be me. Did I stop drinking? Absolutely not. But I stopped running. And, because I didn't want, socially, 30 years ago, socially, it's not as acceptable then as it is today. And, of course, I didn't want to embarrass the family, or I was always worried about my ego again. What are people going to think of me? What are they going to say? This, that, and the other. So it got to the point where I just had to say it, and I did. Like I say. Well, anyway, he ended up with custody of my daughter, but I got to see her often. We're in the Bible Belt. I'm with another woman when I left him. I had just got laid off from my job. There's all of this, and, he had a job, stable home, this, that, and the other. So he got custody, but I would see her every Tuesday, every weekend. He'd bring her to me, So that went on for maybe a year, maybe 2 years. And then, and then he got stationed to San Antonio. When he left for San Antonio, that killed me, because I didn't see her then but every other Christmas and maybe summer breaks. And all I did was drink. I literally did. All I did was drink. There was many times I called into work because I was laid off from my job when we got divorced, but then I got called back. Within the first 3 years at this place where I work, it was seasonal until you kind of get your foot in the door kind of thing. So Anyway, I was back at work, but then I would call into work because I knew I smelled like alcohol. I was hungover. There's so many. I wasn't in the same town when I woke up. There were so many different reasons as to why I was missing work. But it still wasn't the alcohol. I've got this. I've got this.
So you met with a counselor. You made some confessions about how you feel, who you are. You felt free, but you weren't free yet because you were still not willing to give up the juice.
Right.
You've lost your daughter at this point, and just for the audience's sake, because I can say this, I've met your daughter. She's beautiful. She's absolutely gorgeous. And I see the relationship between you two. It's very tight. It's so wonderful. So I guess we'll come to that later, but I wanted to put the cart before the horse because that one, I'm imagining you being an audience member going, oh my God, what happened to the daughter? So I'm just going to say that ends on a good news.
Yeah.
Okay. So please continue.
Like I say, missing work, and that's just what happens. But when I met with the counselor, I made that choice to be honest, okay, with myself and with another human being. I could not admit that I had an alcohol problem, that I was powerless over alcohol. I could not admit that to myself. So therefore, I could not make that decision and make that choice. I knew that I was gay. I didn't accept that I was an alcoholic. There's a big difference there. That came later. So, yes, I'm wasting away. There were different methods that I tried, It was like, oh, I will get another job. I said, I'll work 2 jobs. That way I don't have that much time to drink.
That makes perfect sense.
Right?
That should have cured it.
You would think it would have slowed me down, right? Well, what happened was, I would finish the one job, go to the next. Everything was good for about a week. Then I'd finish the one job, crack a beer open, go to the next job, do my job, crack a beer open on the way home. Then it was 2 beers, and then it was 3 beers, But I'm not an alcoholic, Bob, because,
not.
my definition of an alcoholic is that poor sod under the bridge with a brown paper bag, homeless, jobless. It's absolutely hopeless. That was my definition of an alcoholic. I can't be an alcoholic.
No. You got 2 jobs.
I've got 2 jobs.
That's right.
I have a roof over my head. I can buy whatever beer I want to.
You're not drinking Old Milwaukee at this point or Meisterbräu.
No, absolutely not. No.
None of that white labeled beer.
So, everything, I'm in so much denial at this point in my life. I am in so much denial because there'd be friends would say, do you think you're drinking a little bit too much?
Oh, wait, you actually had friends that called you out in a sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're not to that point yet. See, because then, I had this girlfriend. Now, this you might laugh at. I had this girlfriend, and my daughter's 10 at the time, and we're going back I'm taking her to England. She can meet my family, We get to England, I'm absolutely smashed. I have drank all the way across the Atlantic.
Reversed.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Karma, I tell you. And
now your parents. Oh, God.
And so she's going to meet my parents and my brothers and sisters. And my daughter, bless her heart, she's 10. My girlfriend, she's like, she don't know what to do. Because I made all the decisions kind of thing,
Oh, no.
So, and I've had this conversation with my brother, Brian. You met him.
Yeah. Good guy.
He met us at the airport and he was devastated. It was like, oh, my God, It was a couple-hour drive from the airport to his place.
Oh, what a stinky drive.
All right, now I passed out. I had sobered up a little bit by the time But, it's things like that. That's the things that were happening I really was not paying attention to. I'm going to be okay. I'll sober up. I'll be okay. I didn't mean to do that. I was drunk. The excuses we make. And I believe them.
But they make so much sense to us.
Absolutely.
I don't know why other people don't get it.
I believed every word I said.
That's right.
And so then I guess you could say that, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. I'm listening.
Accountability? No.
Okay.
I wasn't accountable for any of it,
Responsible, accountable. Okay.
Responsible, right.
Got that flowing river of denial.
Yes, so much. And I remember they used to, Wendy and my daughter, they used to love to watch Intervention. And I swear to God, they would watch that show just to rub it in my face. Look, this is what you look like. Even though they weren't saying that, they just liked the show.
I've never heard of the show.
But I would never watch the show Intervention.
It was called Intervention. Was that alcohol related?
It's alcohols and drugs.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yes, and it's where they have a family will get a member and they want to do an intervention. They get professional help.
Oh, is this like a reality show or something?
It's kind of reality, but it's, and you need to look it up on A&E, Intervention.
Okay.
Well, anyway, they would show these people that were just drunks and all the family members really trying to help them. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you know, you keep, that's not me. I'm not that bad. You know, this has not happened. That's not happened. Today, I love the show because I like to see at the end after they've found that somebody has accepted the intervention and gone to treatment and see the recovery. See, having lived the recovery and experiencing all of that, you know, it makes your heart smile.
Wow, I've got to check. It's real. These are real time.
Absolutely real.
Somebody's walking into, and we know what an intervention is. Well, if you don't know, folks, it's when you get family, friends, job folks, employers, whatever, people involved, and they actually give somebody the very hard choice, and that's either, you know, it's basically crap or get off the pot.
Go to rehab or
go to the streets. A lot of people do go to the streets and they either die or they finally hit a bottom and make a turning point and come into the program, or they choose to go the route of the journey that we're on and things go well. I've never heard of this show. That's amazing. Okay. So, I mean, I can only imagine you're watching something live where somebody's an unsuspecting victim walking into this intervention.
Oh, trust me, I was looking over my shoulder a lot thinking they're going to do this. They're going to do this. I'm going to kill them. Anyway.
You know, Mandy, I'm sorry. You are 5 foot. You're very slender. And I can't imagine you being hostile under the influence of alcohol. I mean, you must have been the Tasmanian devil or something. Wow.
But yeah, you know, it's things like that make me think today, oh my gosh, you was in so much denial and so afraid. I was living in fear and I didn't know it. You know, so anyway, getting up to the bottom, it got to the point to where you know, even though I was working these 2 jobs, Bob, it didn't matter if I had 1 drink or 20 drinks. My body needed some alcohol. Okay.
You're chemically dependent.
I am chemically dependent at this point because I am drinking every day. And at this point, I am by myself. I have my world has gotten so small. It was me, the job, and the booze.
And that's where we end up in the 4 walls of your house where you're free to drink as much as you want when you're home, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not because, and I will say this, it's not because people said, we don't want you to come over. I chose not to because I knew that at some point I'd have to stop and come home, where if I'm at home, I don't have to stop. You know, I can just drink and drink till I pass out. I put myself in isolation is pretty much what I did. And I had tried AA back in 2007, and I wanted to keep the peace at home. The girlfriend was going to leave me. We'd been together 10 years.
Wow.
She was going to leave me, and I was like, okay, I'm going to make this right so she'll stay. You know, a little bit of manipulation going on.
Sure.
Right? So I did, and I'll say I did not drink for 9 months. Now, I worked the steps to a point to where I still didn't really believe that my life was unmanageable. I started to believe that I got a problem with the drink, but I'm not an alcoholic, right? Mm-hmm. I can still get this. And then as the rest of them went, you know, came to believe in a higher power, I was still hung up between God, church and spirituality. Yep. Still didn't know the difference there.
Yep. And
because I was hung up on that, there's no way the rest of it would work for me because I was trying to do it by myself and not with the help of God. Okay. So that lasted for 9 months and went to the lake. It's like, I've been all weekend with all these people, not had a drink. I think I got this. So I did. And I had a drink on the Sunday when we was leaving. And within a week, I was back up to 30 pack.
Boy, isn't that something?
You know, it hits you like a rock.
It's so cunning, baffling, and insidious, powerful. Mm-hmm. I want to put some people on notice out there in the listening audience world. You had mentioned the manipulation of your significant other earlier.
Right.
So hey, it is what it is, folks. I know some people aren't going to like me and Mandy going there right now, but for those people that are out there that are listening to this show that have a significant other that is, in their minds, either abusing alcohol because they don't know if they're an alcoholic or not, what would be some of the things that they could look for from a manipulative partner?
It's going to be different. I'm going to slow down. The quiet, they'll go quiet. I used to go quiet a lot because, I'll speak to you when I'm ready kind of thing. That's silent treatment, and that's manipulation. We'll have a conversation when I'm ready to have a conversation. When I hear myself say these things, it's like, oh my gosh, I know better than that. This is not who I am, but it is who I become. When Mandy drinks, I'm not that person that I used to be. I'm not that person. I'm so grateful for this program now that I can be that person that I was before alcohol came into my life. When you're being manipulated, it can be very subtle, and you think everything's going okay, and I'll go to these meetings, I'll be okay. We'll make this work, but then that unmanageability, that second part of the first step, my life is becoming unmanageable. That's when I get irritable, restless, and discontent. That is when I will start manipulating and let you hear what you want to hear so I can go off and do what I want to do. And that's get drunk.
It's like the, and I don't know about on the female side, I really don't, but on the male side, we'll look for opportunities to look like the significant other started a fight. We planted the seeds for the fight somehow or other, and because we want the fight. Because then it's like, well, you know what? If that's how you're going to be about this, then you know what? I'm out. Okay, I need some me time. Okay, and me time means I can drink to my heart's content. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a form of manipulation. There's bullying. There's all kinds of. What are some other examples you can think of? Now, again, if we're hurting somebody's feelings out there because we're giving up your secrets, suck it up.
And that's the only reason. That's the only way it will hurt your feelings is if you hear something that's true. When somebody would say to me, Mandy, don't you think you're drinking too much? I would get angry inside. I wouldn't say anything, but I'd get angry inside because I knew deep down, I knew that they were right. But my God, you're not going to tell me. I'll tell you when I've had enough.
That's right.
Like you said though, Bob, manipulation comes in many shapes and forms. Yeah. We're good story twisters.
Mm-hmm. And the sad part is those significant other people, they love us. Mm-hmm. And, and I've heard this before, any self-respecting spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever would, that's it, I'm out. But they love us. They are self-respecting, but they love us. Mm-hmm. And I see relationships carry on until death does them part, and they've lived their whole life miserable because they love them. And I think there's some environmentally dysfunctional growth there. I'm not a psychologist, so these are words that I don't know. I might have read them in the Inquirer or something.
I would phrase that under codependent. Codependent,
good word. Cool. That's Army talk for you. Yeah. So in the Air Force, what's that? Super. No, I'm sorry. No Air Force people out there hate me today, okay? Come on the show. Let's have some fun. All right. So they love us. It's a damaging thing, and we've done that. So let's, I guess, get back on track. So you were talking about struggling with your religion, between the difference between spirituality and religion at that point.
Well, yeah, at that point, so that's why it only lasted 9 months. It's because I couldn't go any further because I was still trying to do it myself. Mm-hmm. And
can I ask you? Mm-hmm. Does that mean you didn't have a connection with the higher power at that point?
None.
Yeah. Okay.
None.
So, but religion, yeah, we understand doctrine. The pages between the covers, but to actually have a relationship with a higher power, that's what was lacking at this point.
I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard. Now, come on, if you're sitting out there, anybody, and somebody says to you, you're going to have a relationship with a higher power, and I said, you're nuts. Absolutely nuts. I knew there's God, right? I hear a God. And he created heaven and earth, right? Or heaven on earth. But to have a relationship with what? It's intangible. How is that? I couldn't get my head around that. It's like, no. So I was in and out of the program maybe 4 or 5 times. I had different sponsor each time because I was too embarrassed to go to the next one, to go back to the first one because I'd done screwed up, you see, because we're perfectionists, or I'm perfectionist, and if I'm not going to do it right, I'm not going to do it, So I'll go to the next one. I like to joke and say I was going to any lengths to get it. And I did actually pick up and remember from these different sponsors, just a little bit from each one of them. Why was that retained into my head? I have no idea, but these little nuggets were. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it got to the point to where this time I am by myself. Wendy's gone. Daughter's back in San Antonio. And it's just me, myself, and the booze. And I had been reported a few times over the years. You smell of alcohol, we're going to send you home. Well, they're sending me home. It's 11 o'clock. Cool. I can drink longer today.
Oh, gosh.
That's where my mind went.
Right.
And it did. And that's what I did. The DUIs, all these consequences. If that person behind me hadn't called the police because I'm swerving on the road, right? Why are they calling the police? I'm not going to hit them. They're behind me. Mind your own dang business,
Oh,
all those silly little things I used to tell myself. It's like, you stupid little man, just mind your own. So, public intox. Oh, I'm walking down the road, coming from a party, got a 12-pack under my arm. I'm not but maybe 2 blocks from my house. And I'm thinking, I've got heels on, so my feet are hurting. I'm thinking, I need a cab. I got to flag this car down. And he stops.
No.
And I went to open the back door and his cop jumps out. It's like, no, it's a K9 unit. I almost got in the back with a dog.
Oh, you can't make this up.
And
That's
he had to send for another car. Now, this is the cool bit though. They took me to the station, did the fingerprints. I don't know why they didn't use the ones from last time, but anyway. They did the fingerprints. The cop wrote me all up and everything, and gave me a court date, and then gave me a ride home.
He gave you a ride home?
He gave me a ride home.
Did he let you take your beer?
Oh, no, they took that.
Oh, that's not cool.
I had some more at the house.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise I'd have been really upset. But anyway, no, but he took me home, right? Well, then after he had gone, I was like, oh, I didn't get my paperwork. So I called the police station. I said, hey, he said, yeah, I know, Mandy. He said, I'm bringing it back. And he brought my paperwork to me.
Oh, my gosh.
So I had a really nice conversation. I don't know. I must have had a blackout. So I had a really nice conversation with this cop. We was laughing and joking and everything. So apparently I carry it well.
Oh, that is funny.
But anyways, yeah. So this last time I got reported at work. And
now, when you got reported at work, where were you in your head? Were you reaching a point where I'm done, but I'm not done. I'm done, but I'm not. Was that a seesaw?
No, this last time when there was this one girl. Excuse me. She was the one that would report me all the time. I hated her.
Why didn't she mind her own business?
Absolutely. That's what I asked her several times. She was the capital B, and over a period of years, she was always the one that would report me. So anyway, she reported me this last time. It's supposed to be anonymous, but I knew who it was. So she reports me, and I get told I'm suspended for 2 weeks. I said, can I claim unemployment? Like,
oh, wow.
And suspended for 2 weeks, and that I have to get some help.
I can't believe they did that. They suspended you. They didn't pay you either?
Not for those 2 weeks.
I can't believe that. That's
I know.
just ridiculous.
It's wrong. I was robbed. Anyway.
They just don't understand.
I don't. But I tell you what, though, that happened that day was when they said, and you need to get some help. I promise you, my head got up. I said, I know exactly where to go. And I went to Jacksonville and started my journey again. Okay,
so did was that a wake-up call? Was that the wake-up call for you?
I don't know if I want to call it a wake-up call. It was a spiritual awakening, a spiritual experience. Okay. Let me put it that way. It was a spiritual experience. Okay. But I was unaware of what that was at the time. Yeah. I was unaware of a spiritual experience. Today, I will say that that's what it was.
Okay.
Because there was no fear. There was no anxiety. There was no, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to drink again. There was, oh my God, it was just, I know exactly where to go. And I did.
So you weren't court mandated to do paper signing or anything. You just on your own. Like you've been suspended, and you're like, okay, you know what? It's time. Just it was that simple. Am I
absolutely?
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you started your journey, and what does that look like? I mean, what does that mean? You did what?
I went to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, and first I started out in Jacksonville, and I was looking for a sponsor. I know what a sponsor is now. That is somebody that will help guide you through the book of Alcoholics Anonymous and be your guide through the 12 steps. Okay. This time I was open-minded, I was willing, and I was willing to be honest. That's the big difference right there, is the honesty. Because when I said, I know exactly where to go. I'm a freaking alcoholic. I admitted it to myself. Now the unmanageability part, that part, I really did need the sponsor to break it down with me as to what that was. And that is actually really all it is. It's my will. Because when Mandy starts doing things her way, things might get, I'm just going to have that one more beer and get behind the wheel. Boom, DUI. Oh, that's a little unmanageable. See, the DUI isn't the unmanageability. That's just the consequence.
Yeah.
Of my actions.
That's right.
And my actions come from my thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. My thoughts is my will. There you go. It started with me doing it my way.
So tell me you already gone to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous some years earlier. So now going in this time with that honest, open, and willing attitude, what was the difference in your participation then versus years earlier when you had gone?
I would like to. At first, I wanted to say, well, at first I would have said it's the sponsor, because when the student's ready, the teacher will appear.
Okay, yeah,
you hear that,
yeah.
And I was more receptive and open to what was being said to me, whereas before it was I would listen, then it was blah 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 blah.
Charlie Brown.
Okay, and I just kind of sailed through nothing, really. Because I hadn't learned nothing, hadn't done anything. I just didn't drink. And I thought, well, look at me. I'm doing so well. I haven't drank in 9 months, and all I'm doing is feeding my ego.
That's right. Yeah, I can identify.
So anyway, the biggest thing that really changed my perspective was when I was asked to write, what was my conception of God? Never been asked that before in my life.
Okay,
what is my conception of God? I have no idea. What do I write? If you read step 2 in the 12 and 12, there's some questions in there.
Yeah.
Which I did answer in my assignment that I had done. What I had written down was that, okay, my conception of God, I said, he's a vast entity waiting to be embraced.
That's poetic.
And I was the belligerent one, sitting with my arms folded and my head down. That is who I felt, and that is who I was at that particular time. So how am I going to change that? I don't want to be that belligerent one with my head down. I don't want to be ignorant and in denial anymore because I know better. At this point, I've not had a drink in probably a week, and I had not craved a drink in a week. Didn't have any DTs. I have no idea why not, because I was a daily drinker, heavy daily drinker. So it was a profound change right from the beginning. And then that's when my journey really began with the spirituality of God and, religion. So, okay, I can deal with the spirituality because I will never understand God. We have a saying in AA, as God as I understand him. I don't understand him. He's too big for me to get my head around. But I experience him. So I understand God through my experiences. They're not always good experiences and they're not always bad, but they're what I need.
Mandy, what was that quote you had about when you did your assignment?
He was a vast entity waiting to be embraced, which is, that's the God of the universe.
Wow. All right. So you're in the program like most people that are in a fog. As that fog is being lifted, what were some of the things that you found you needed to do that worked for you to stay sober? Oh, well, how about this? How long before it took the obsession to go away? And that is, by the way, a miracle that you didn't experience the separation.
It was gone completely straight away.
Wow. And as you know my story, that did not happen. So I'm rather jealous. I'm going to have a chat with my higher power when I meet him. How come you gave Mandy a break? You didn't give me one.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, Bob. One of the many other times that I attempted, I wasn't ready. I wasn't willing. So that obsession was still there. You know, I kept thinking, I can't drink today. I can't drink today. I can't drink today. So the more I kept saying I can't drink today, the more I wanted.
I was just thinking, yeah, that would have like a reverse psychological effect on you.
Absolutely. This time, I didn't even think about a drink. Didn't even think that I thought about a drink. You know, nothing like that. It was gone. Absolutely gone.
It's like I know I don't have this right for you psychologists out there, replacement therapy program. It's like, don't think about what you're not supposed to do. Think about what you're supposed to do. And I know there's a proper term for it. So, but you know, my degree is in partyology, so bear with me. So you were, thanks to a good sponsor, you started to get engaged in healthy practices that actually, you know, I mean, in a way, they would steer you away from the unhealthy thinking by doing the positive practices. Mm-hmm. What were some of those things?
What was that again? Say that again.
What were some of the positive practices, the things that you did that were, because you're already honest, open, and willing. Okay, so you're not trying to stay away from alcohol. You're trying to fill your life with positive activities. What were some of those activities that you did that kept you, anxiously engaged in sobriety?
Oh, go to meetings on a regular basis. Make the coffee. Meet people. Chair meetings. Choose a topic that you think you may be struggling with. There might be something going on in your life that you're struggling with. I'll say, for instance, somebody that I know is struggling with their fourth step, which is a rigorous, honest moral inventory. Who wants to look at themselves? I know I didn't the first couple of times around, and I didn't. You know, this time I was so looking forward to it because I knew I was already feeling better, lighter, brighter, and I wanted more. I just wanted more. So whatever I could do, go to conventions, go to potlucks, do 12-step calls, which would be with another person going to help somebody else out in need. Things like that got me out of me. Don't just go to the same meeting, go to different meetings. You know, I like to say to people when I go to some of these rehabs, you know, try AA. And if you don't like that one, go to another one. How many drug houses did you go to before you know, or if you went to a drug house or to a bar, but you didn't like it, but you still went anyway till you got what you needed. Right. That's it. Keep coming back till you get what you need.
Hey, so some of these, I know you speak at organizations and you go out on the circuit and meet people that are in those recovery treatment centers, et cetera, et cetera. Have you ever ran into any of them, you know, later on down the road? You kind of forgot. You don't even know who they are. You know, hey, I did my thing. I'm trying to encourage you, you know, get everybody sober. Good luck with that, whatever, you know, here I am. And you're sharing your experience, strength, and hope, kind of like you're doing with this interview. Then you're back out in the road and bam, you cross paths. Tell me what that looked like.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. There's been a few girls that one, you know, it wasn't too long ago, a couple of months ago, got this tap on the shoulder in Walmart parking lot. I got this tap on the shoulder. Hey, Mandy, do you remember me? And I'm thinking, it's like, oh yeah, hey. And it's like, how are you doing? Where are you at? And this, that, and the other. And to have a completely different conversation with them as to what it was like when they were in rehab. That's happened several times, and it's truly amazing.
I love it. Okay, so this is your show, but I was with the tribe, the guys, and we had just spoke at the prison. Mm-hmm. And then we went to Cheddar's. So this happened twice, right? So the first time was, and this is several months ago, we walked in and this lady comes up, boom, she's the waitress, and she just starts hugging us. And we're like, well, this is interesting. You know, instead of like a Walmart greeter, you know, they got this Cheddar's hugger. And she's like, oh, you guys don't remember me? But no, none of us remembered her because we speak so much, you know, and you just don't remember all the faces. So that was cool. She took good care of us. The other one just happened 2 nights ago. Shannon and I at her, I shouldn't have said that other restaurant, but to be fair, she's not there anymore. She has, I guess, moved on, and that happens. Shannon and I were at a restaurant the other night. This just happened Tuesday night, and the lady came up to the table and she does the whole shock thing, and my wife starts giggling because we know where this is going,
Right.
and she says the same opening. She says, "I know you don't know who I am, but." And I was like, "That's awesome, So, what's your journey like?" She goes, "I'm sober 7 months now, and thanks for you and the tribe coming in." I was like, "This is so cool, man." Hey, listen, nothing makes our day better than seeing a success story in somebody else.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I digress, and that's 12-step talk, and I love it. I
just want to jump back to that fourth step real quick though,
Sure.
because third step, give my will and my life over to the care of God. Now I have a connection. Step 2, I've got that vast entity waiting to be embraced. I'm feeling different. I'm experiencing something that I've never experienced before in my life. That's got to be what it is. I'm open-minded now. So I'm giving my will and my life, which is my thoughts, my actions, over to the care of God. I can't wait to do this fourth step. I can't wait, to be honest.
Mandy, how long did it take you to get a grip on the third step? Just curious.
The third step? As soon as I got the second step, I knew what the third step meant.
Huh.
I couldn't do the third. See, if somebody's struggling with the fourth, go back to the third. You're struggling with the third, you go back to the second.
Yeah.
And you can't do number 2 until you've done till you've done number 1 100%.
Are you folks out there listening to this? And I'm not talking about the newcomers. I'm talking about people that are waning in their program right now. You can't do you. Why are we in a hurry to get to the steps? There's no certificate waiting for us at the end of the road. If you're struggling with a step, then just wait. And sponsors, if you're listening to this and you're pushing somebody through the steps, you're wrong. You're doing it wrong. If somebody's ready, they're ready when they're ready, not when you, the sponsor, are ready. And I'm so glad you said that. Mandy, I was pushed through the steps. I didn't get a grasp on 3. I faked it till I made it. And it was a long time until I had an understanding of the second, but I already faked the rest because I didn't want to disappoint the sponsor that was dragging me through this thing.
And I've done that, yep.
Oh, it was just, and the sponsor I have now is awesome. But, that didn't happen then.
I don't push, to get, you can't move forward until you've got an understanding of the one you're on, and I get that, and we all move at a different pace. But the whole purpose of getting to the 12th step is so you can carry that message. Mm-hmm. If you're going to, I shouldn't really say this, but I've already started. If I was to stay on meandering around step 4 for 12 months, how can I go out and help the other suffering alcoholic? What am I doing? What am I doing?
I'll help you with that too, because how can you do the 6th and 7th step? Folks, that's when we talk about humility and dealing with our character defects. How can we expect to understand humility? How can we expect our character defects to go away if we haven't developed a relationship with a higher power in step 3? That said, I didn't have a step 3 in my life. I blew through 6 and 7. I blew through it like a race car. By the time I got to step 12, I was doing service work, and my service work was based on this. Mandy, I just did this for you. You owe me. Mm-hmm. And that's not service work.
No, it is not.
And I want everybody to know, hey, did you guys see what I did for Mandy? Yeah, that's right. Hey, I should be on that Olympic platform, and how come I'm not standing on the gold? You guys need to pat me on the back. If we haven't developed a relationship with a higher power, then stop.
What you have to do, what I had to do, what I had to do is quit playing God, okay? I had to humble myself.
Oh, boy.
And humble myself and humble myself.
Preach it.
Because as soon as I start picking up that, that self-will and thinking I got it, my ego's going to say, okay, you're good. You can do this. You can do this. And your ego is only going to come and pick you up when you're down. Right? Because that's what it's there for. It's a big mask for you to carry around.
Yep.
I got this. When deep down, I'm in shit. Help me. But I'm not going to ask for help because I got this.
Oh, my goodness.
So you got to humble. I had to humble myself and humble myself. And I tell you what, to be so humbled, rather, because trust me, I am not doing any of this. God is working through me. It is being done to me, not by me. Mandy used to try and do it all, but you know what? Leave it to Mandy, and Mandy will get drunk.
Oh, my goodness.
God is doing this to me.
Mandy, this is an opportunity for us to do another shameless plug that you and I discovered about each other recently. And this isn't for newcomers. Hello. So newcomers, just hang in there for a moment, please. Those of you that are on your journey right now and you feel like you're waning, oh, I've been in this thing, this AA, I'm getting bored or whatever, and I don't feel like I'm growing. Shameless plug to Drop the Rock. I would suggest that you pick up the book and read it. Amazon's got it pretty cheap. And then maybe grab another trusted friend or two or whatever and start doing a group study through it. That book woke me up on steps 6 and 7 and made humility and my character defects come to life. And the reason that's important, I'm preaching the choir here when I'm looking at Mandy. I can't begin to show humility until I get a grip on those character defects that I'm not willing to share because of my ego. Mm-hmm. And if I can really get a grasp on those and just have a group, and of course I'm recommending gender-based, so it was a group of us guys that went through it. That Dropped the Rock. Gosh, I got to do a show with those guys. Mandy, we got to find those guys and do a show with them.
Okay.
That would be awesome. So do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I also went with a group of women. We went through Drop the Rock. And in a group setting, it's absolutely wonderful because something else I learned, a sick mind can't cure a sick mind. So perception is different for everybody. I may see something one way, explain it to me another way. There you go. I'm outside the box again and I'm looking at something different. 6 and 7 is the meat and potatoes, really. Once we get through that moral inventory and we've shared it with another.
Yeah.
That is where I could see all the places where I went wrong, why I was acting the way I was acting. Oh, yeah. Why was I gossiping about somebody? Why was I getting so angry at that? What was, and it's just such an eye-opener. And it's like, I've learned that, I can't afford to get angry and heated. It makes me thirsty. I can't do that. And today I have that mind thought of, well, what would God want me to do? He don't want me to do this. I learned to pause and act instead of react. Because when you react, a reaction on something, that's basically done out of fear. And, so I have that faith today that if I take my time in a book study, when you hear different things like that, there's that Drop the Rock is, it helps you to do an inventory on a daily basis too. It's a sad day when you can't see that you have done something right, So there's the good and the bad, and I'm also giving another plug because the ripple effect, which is right after the Drop the Rock.
Yeah, we're in that book right now, actually, and you had noticed it when you were at the house here when we were doing a show not too long ago. And that's how I found out that you actually went through Drop the Rock, and you actually encouraged me to keep going in the ripple effect, because I agree with you. It's a great book. And in here, I hold you in high esteem. Don't get a big head. So when you edified that book and said, yeah, stay the course, I was like, yeah. I actually told the guys about it. And we have another group coming up Sunday to go through the book. Because of time, and I know because, your time is precious, because we know that you have things you got to do, and I've been holding you up for a while. I don't want to lose track of this. That evil lady at your employment, did you want to bring that full circle about?
Yeah, let me tell you.
Did you finally hit her with a car? Is that where that went?
Let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
So anyway, the girl, the one that was always reporting me. I was about 3 years in the program, and there's a step in our 12 step. Our 9th step is where we make it an amends. And I kept saying, I told you how this girl was always reporting me. I hated her, she hated me, and so you're thinking, why don't I owe her an amends? Well, I've learned when we make an amends, it's by keeping my own side of the street clean. And I do, and I got to the point and I realized I was hateful. I was really hateful, and I was mean with the way that I would speak with her, or the side glances, or the dirty looks, things like that. So 3 years later, I called her over. She was by my machine, and I said, hey, I want to thank you and apologize. And I said, I want to apologize and I want to thank you. And she looked at me, didn't know what to say. I said, you inadvertently saved my life. And for that, I'm grateful. And today we are on a completely different, our whole relationship has changed. And only God can do that. Only God could do that because Mandy wanted to throat punch her.
I still can't even picture that, but that's funny when I try to.
And there's another twist to that too because I switched departments and she's my boss today. So I'm so glad we're on a better playing field now.
Wow. Hey, let's close out that note. But when a person has a dark spot in their heart, and so many of us do, I mean, it's just, we're humans. When we clean our side of the street, when we clean that part of our heart out, fill in a word for me. What does that feel like?
Bright. It's bright and it's just light. It's I'm going to say tingly.
Okay.
It's tingly because that's that kind of buzz that only God can give me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And so there's two categories I find where we in our journeys feel those tingly, buzzy feelings, right? Mm-hmm. One is the amends.
Absolutely.
And the other one is the service work, but not the service work from the lack of humility, the service work of doing something for something. You guys hear me preach this all the time, and I'm not going to stop. When we learn to do things for other people and all of a sudden we find that we want to do them and we don't want anything in return. Mm-hmm. Wow. And my family, of course, this is years later, my family, when they tell me, when former friends see me and people I run across and they get to know me all over again, they're like, you're not the same guy. And this isn't my show. So I don't need to go down that road, but I can identify with your anecdotal story there that when you did that U-turn, you're a different person. You're not the Tasmanian devil anymore, and I still cannot pick. I'm glad I didn't know you in those days. I'm a little friendly fluffball here.
I mean, I wasn't, I portray them, they were the bad things. They were more good than they were bad, but that is just where alcohol would take me. It just takes me to those dark, ugly places and I fit right in.
Wow. Hey, so give us some of your favorite or a favorite cliche. People, cliche gets a bad word like Mondays, but they're fun. And, you said your former father-in-law would throw those out at you. Did he have any now that resonate with you today?
Well, only as sick as your secrets is one, because if there's something that's bothering me, it's going to eat me up. Today it will eat me up. So I've got a host of friends and I have a sponsor that I can share my secrets or my thoughts with, because it's steps. It's working the steps. It just, it's the first drink that gets you drunk. What does that mean? Well, I didn't need a drink until I took a drink.
Yeah.
As soon as that alcohol gets in my body, I want another and another and another. That's what he meant by the first drink that gets you drunk. But I tell you what, from these promises, when it says, when we're in step 9, they start to come. I told you that the obsession and everything went away straight away. That, when I did my second step and I finally got the God of my experience so I could understand, that was when I comprehend the word serenity and I knew peace. That's my favorite promise, because it's daily.
Love it. Let me throw another one at you. So when we're drinking, active alcoholism, we bring a lot of this grief on ourselves. I mean, there's just excuses, procrastination, details, all that stuff. That's on us. But now, for the listening audience, whether you're brand new or on your journey. Okay, so question for you, Mandy. So you're sober now. You're doing great things. You're not asking for trouble, and you're trying to be the best person that you can possibly be. However, there are still bananas out there that for some reason misery loves company, hurt people. What cliche or what tools even do you use when somebody is having a bad day and they're trying to make your day bad too? How do you handle that?
Good question. This happened to me a couple of days ago. There's this guy at work and he was following me on a machine that I had been before. We rotate from different machines after a certain amount of hours. He came up to where I was at and he was yelling at me, "Why are you doing?" And about something that was wrong over there on this other machine. And I stopped and then he went away. And I stopped and I thought, I went over to him. Now, normally I'd have jumped right back, I went over to him because I thought, that's not like him. there's something wrong. I went over, I said, Robert, what happened? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. No, just the way, what happened just then? What was that all about? And then he tells me about all this stuff that had been happening with him. And he turned around and he said, and I'm apologize. I didn't mean to take it out on you. That's how different thing. That's how different my life is today. I don't have to jump in there and argue and fight. Everybody's got a story, you know, and if somebody's coming up and trying to piss me off, I'm going to find out what's wrong with them.
That's beautiful.
You know?
I need more people like you in my life. Because I'm that guy sometimes that stirs the pot, you know. And my wife will tell you, and you know me long enough. I don't know why I can't help it. You know, on the show I don't do it, obviously, but I'm a real snarky guy. I push a lot of buttons. I'm not trying to get underneath somebody's goat, but there's still that old part of me that likes to see people, you know, get a little tight. And then, you know, I got to come in and do damage control and do my apologies. But I can't help myself. It's one of my character defects. Mandy, as we close out this show, what are some things you want to leave as parting shout outs to folks listening to the show about, you know, what might encourage them today?
Well, if there's anything that I may have said that resonates with you, call somebody, even call into the show and say, hey, I heard this. How do I do this? The hardest thing to do is ask for help because it's humbling and it reveals it reveals you that, and it's not a sign of weakness. Don't ever take asking for help as a sign of weakness because it takes immense courage to ask for weakness. I found that out the hard way. I had over 30 years of drinking and I lost a lot of friendships. I lost a lot of opportunities. And I just, you know, if you're young enough, please do not put yourself through that. You might roll your eyes and say, I got this. Well, I've been there, done that. Try it. You know, if you feel like you may have a problem, just try it. If you don't like it, you know, the door it swings both ways. But we hope you come, and then we hope you stay.
Wow. All right. Hey, don't touch that dial. I got a couple admin notes for you. But first, I want to say, God bless you, Mandy. Thank you so much. Not only for coming on the show and being, you know, my partner in some of these co-host shows that we do. I'm so grateful that you take the time out to come and help me with these. You just bring so much to the table, and it means so much. And I learned so much from you. And, you know, I guess I got to be honest and say that, you know, I'm selfish. I want to grow as well. And so one of the reasons I do this show is not just to bring, you know, help to the hurting, but I want to grow too and be a better person and help with some of those character defects, maybe not push so many buttons, you know, on people. So thank you. And again, happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you.
And you shared it with me, you, pizza, and what do we have? You got a Coke, I got a Dr. Pepper.
And it was fantastic.
Hey, so folks, Mandy had mentioned reaching out to us. So there's several ways you can do that, obviously. So let me hit that real quick. Shoutoutfromthepit.com. You can go there and all kinds of ways to contact us. There's a phone number on there. You can leave a voicemail. I'm going to come back to that in a sec. I don't answer the phone, but it's a voicemail. And so just leave a message on there. Or you can reach us at team@shoutoutfromthepit.com. If I'm talking too fast, no worries, because it's all there at shoutoutfromthepit.com. Tell a friend, spread the love, you know, let people know that we're here. And we are one of those teams of people that, you know, Redbeard and I, my partner in this endeavor, you know, we've got thick skin and open mind. This is not about us at all. We grow from it, yeah, but we really want to do what we can for the community. So if you've got some great insight for us, please reach out to us. We'd love it. Leave a, I don't know, comment section or whatever, you know, those attaboys. You know, we're fledgling. We've only got a few shows posted out there right now, but we've got some great shows coming our way. I'm really excited about it. And Mandy's going to be on the show with me on some of those. So, all right. And it would not be us if we did not remind you that you're not alone. And if nobody's told you that they love you today, we love you.
We love you.
Amen. So God bless you and have an outstanding recovery day. This is the Old Rucker and Mandy. Peace out.
Bye.